More than 80% of the 98,232 candidates eligible for nationwide mop-up Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, failed to turn up for the examination on Saturday. You heard right. While the registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, Professor Ishak Oloyede, discussed this in Abuja during the monitoring exercise of the rescheduled examinations. He attributed the development to intensified security measures targeting impersonators and exam cheats. Professor Oloyede said the nationwide mop-up UTME has further exposed how examination malpractice syndicate operates in the country.
Given the work that we have done in conjunction with the SSS and the police, we have been able to get some intelligence some information that we could use to really apprehend those who are impersonating in particular. Those who are in custody probably will have notified those who are outside, and you can see that the performance throughout the country is far, far below what you expect.
Well, joining us to discuss a deliberate education roadmap for Nigeria's future will focus on the low turnout of the mop-up UTME on Saturday, and the FCTLEA primary school teachers still on strike is Dr. Ikechi Nwogu, an educator and a public affairs analyst. Ikechi, glad to have you join us.
Thank you.
Let's start from there. Let's start from the UT. I was actually discussing this before I came on air, and it's troubling. 80% out of 20, 80% dodged the exams, but they're attributing it to security measures, impersonators. So 80% dodged the exam because people were right. That's what's your sense of it?
I think the final exams would seem like the ending case for studies, and the entire justification will come from everything you've done from primary 1 to SS3. And it points to waning confidence. When the candidate is not confident ahead of the exams, then he wants to look to his right or to his left to see who will help him. So there are even those that would show up for the exams hoping to ask around what's the answer to number 1 and number 2. And that has gone on. I mean, how many of us in Nigeria today, 200 million of us, okay, would boast of owning their certificates? I mean, I sat for the exam. I didn't ask any question. I didn't procure help from anywhere. I sat in, I passed or I failed. So most of our candidates are not confident, and which is why when it happens that measures are becoming more stringent, then they want to escape. And escape to where? To what? Some of them would go abroad to study. But then what is sad is in country, we're churning out what I call a mass underclass, repeatedly through time, through the generations. And you begin to think, which way forward for Nigeria in terms of education in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 decades? Is there still a future? Because these are the same individuals that will go on to become the governors, the senators, the presidents. What quality of representation will we enjoy? And that's the risk here. So I think every effort should be made by the government at each point in time to ensure that adequate learning facilities, adequate infrastructure, adequate collaboration with the private sector, with the community, with the students themselves will be put in place. Measures, proper measures to ensure that there is a future at the end of which the student can sit for his exam with every sense of confidence, having been taught properly as he should be. But where there are teacher shortfalls, how do you guarantee that?
Now, discuss this issue of deliberate. I mean, I know the meaning of the word deliberate, intentional. Deliberate education roadmap for Nigeria's future. What are you saying here? What are we looking at here?
We're pointing to the fact that if there's a future for Nigeria as a whole, as a state, then we need to begin to breed the minds that will champion the causes okay, of leadership and society in general in the future. The engineers. I mean, what is our educational culture in Nigeria? Most of the support systems we have come from abroad. So if the entire world shuts us out of the schemes and we said, okay, let's evolve something that is localized, that is Nigerian. How many Nigerian cars are we happy to drive? I mean, I'm not talking of parts developed abroad and coupled here. I mean, homegrown technologies, ICT, okay? We talk of AI and all that. What's our own representation of these schemes? Even food production. What is Nigeria producing? I mean, in terms of learning cultures. Okay, so even if we were learning locally, informally, okay, is there any documentation? You look at the local farmers, you look at the local herbs producers. Is there any documentation, any formal representation of what the grandfathers know that the children know today? It's all learning, whether it's formal or informal. But then for you to take a pill, medication, you have to depend on the West. You have to depend on the outside world. Nigeria is so blessed with resources. I mean, vast spread of resources. But then we are not articulate enough. We're not careful. I was watching some scrap, these scrap boys some time back. And it was a very interesting kind of, I engaged them. And I said, how do you do this? And they gave me an entire, lay down of procedures. And I asked, is this represented anywhere? Is this captured anywhere? It's not. There are these local drugs you see, grasses and all that with foreign names, right? They are very helpful, but it's not being inducted into the medical schemes and all that for consumption. Why? Because the white man has not detailed. So what are we doing about securing the future, our Nigerianness, our heritage, to bring the world to come learn from us?
Okay, that's what we're discussing in Kechi. You've been asking the question, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? So what should we be doing?
We should start to put things right. We should first create a blueprint for education. I'm not talking about conversations. Okay, we should create a blueprint that maybe looks towards 50, 100 years. Something that envisions what the future would look like and how are we prepared for it. And yeah, we could seek help from everywhere. So, for example, a number of our governments will send children abroad on scholarship. But the question is, are they coming back? Most of them become Nigerians in the diaspora. They get jobs there. So a lot of our scholarship schemes are designed, or not even designed at all, but it's only natural for these children to see the opportunity to get greener pastures. Ideally, when you send a child to, let me tell you how it works. So there's a new medical technology that Nigeria is evolving. And then the medical technology is in sync with what obtains in Germany or in the US. Then you get a set of doctors, send them to where the technology, is championed. Let them train for a while, intern for a while, and then they come back.
You're looking at what China is doing, replicating what China is doing.
Not just China, everywhere in the world.
Well, the world.
But in the future, we can say, okay, we have learned so much.
I think we used to do that in the village. I think that's what you're talking about. They will get together, send somebody abroad for the village, and he comes back and then probably trains the rest.
He comes back, trains the rest. But in this case now, the government is careful to say, this is the kind of technology we want to run. Where can we acquire knowledge on this? Not just saying, okay, we're sending 500 scholars abroad.
Quickly, so who will take up this? How do you go around getting this out there?
Stakeholder involvement. You involve stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? We have representatives of government. We have the private sector, right? The organized private sector. We have the community, representatives of the communities where these schools are resident, okay? And then what kinds of resources are they using now? So all of this, the conversation goes on, debates, because we need partnerships. Government may not find all of the funding. But then if the private sectors do not gain sufficient trust in government, they won't bring in their money, and it will always suffer.
All right, Ikechi, Dr. Ikechi Nwogu, an educator and a public affairs analyst. Thank you. We hope that this gets put together. Thank you for being on News.